I need to say this before anything else. The treadmill didn't make me weaker, slower, or bored. It exposed every lie I'd been telling myself about my training. And once I saw that truth, I couldn't unsee it. I need to be honest with you right from the start. For years, I didn't just dislike the treadmill. I despised it. To me, it was the place where motivation went to die. A glowing belt in a windowless room, running endlessly while going absolutely nowhere. Every minute felt longer than it should. Every workout felt like a compromise, something I tolerated only when the weather forced my hand. And here's the part that might surprise you. I truly believed that feeling meant something. I believed boredom meant the workout was pointless. I believed discomfort meant bad training. I believed that if a run didn't feel real, then it didn't really count. But then a question started haunting me. Quietly at first, then relentlessly. If the treadmill is such a useless tool, why do serious runners keep coming back to it? Not beginners, not casual joggers. I'm talking about coaches, sports scientists, and athletes who understand physiology at a level most of us never touch. Why would people who obsess over marginal gains willingly choose something so hated? That question cracked something open for me. Because what if the treadmill isn't boring because it's ineffective? What if it's boring because it doesn't let us lie to ourselves? Before we go any further, welcome to the channel. If you care about understanding your body, training smarter, and cutting through running myths with real science, consider subscribing. It's the best way to support the channel and make sure you don't miss the deeper conversations coming next. Because once you understand what the treadmill is actually doing to your body, you'll never look at it the same way again. The old belief, why I thought the treadmill was junk miles. That question didn't just make me curious, it forced me to look back at how I had been training for years, and more importantly, why I believed what I believed. For the longest time, I carried a quiet conviction that treadmill miles were somehow second class. They felt too controlled, too predictable, too disconnected from what I thought real running was supposed to be. Outside, every run came with a story. Wind is pushing back, hills you didn't plan for, GPS numbers that drifted just enough to keep things interesting. I told myself that chaos was part of the training, that adapting on the fly made me stronger. The treadmill stripped all of that away, and that's exactly why I rejected it. There was no scenery to distract me, no excuses to hide behind. The pace didn't bend to how I felt that day. I couldn't surge when my ego wanted to, or slow down when discomfort crept in. And instead of seeing that as a strength, I labeled it a flaw. Looking back now, I realized something uncomfortable. I wasn't rejecting the treadmill because it didn't work. I was rejecting it because it exposed me. It forced me to confront the difference between what felt productive and what actually was. And deep down, I wasn't ready to question the version of training that made me feel good. Even if it wasn't making me better, that discomfort stayed with me longer than I expected. And eventually, it pushed me toward a realization I couldn't ignore anymore. I began to see that I had been confusing movement with progress. I was exercising consistently, sweating regularly, checking all the boxes, but I wasn't truly training with intention. What I called listening to my body was often just me negotiating with discomfort. If a run felt hard, I eased off. If it felt good, I pushed a little faster. It felt intuitive, it felt mature, but it wasn't precise. And precision, I slowly learned, is what the body actually responds to. The body doesn't adapt to emotions. It doesn't adapt to narratives about motivation, scenery, or effort. It adapts to very specific signals applied repeatedly over time. Pace held steady, intensity maintained long enough, stress that is clear and unmistakable. Anything vague, anything close enough, simply blends into background noise. That realization was unsettling because it meant some of my hardest feeling runs weren't delivering the stimulus I thought they were. They felt meaningful, but biologically they were diluted, comfortable lies wrapped in effort. For the first time, I had to admit that freedom in training wasn't always an advantage. Sometimes it was the very thing preventing real adaptation. And that thought changed how I looked at every workout that followed. Once that idea settled in, that my body responded to clarity, not freedom, the treadmill stopped feeling like a compromise and started revealing its true purpose. What struck me first was the silence of excuses. Outdoors, pace is always negotiable. Wind slows you, terrain tilts against you, your watch drifts just enough to justify easing off. On the treadmill, none of that exists. You choose a number, and the belt holds you to it. There's no hero surge when confidence spikes, and no quiet retreat when fatigue whispers. The pace is the pace. The first time I locked into a true threshold effort on the treadmill, it felt almost confrontational. Not harder in a dramatic sense, but more honest. Every second spent there counted. Every minute accumulated cleanly, without dilution. I realized how rarely that had happened outside, how often my tempo runs had been stitched together from slightly too fast beginnings and slightly too slow endings. The treadmill didn't care how strong I felt or how tired I wanted to believe I was. It only delivered one clear signal, over and over again. And in that repetition, something clicked. For the first time, I wasn't chasing effort or sensations. I was applying a precise stimulus and letting my physiology respond. That clarity changed the way I understood what productive training actually looks like. That same honesty followed me when I brought the treadmill into my hardest sessions, the ones I used to fear and secretly manipulate the most. VO₂max workouts had always felt chaotic to me. Outdoors, I'd attack the first interval with confidence, convinced I was doing real work. By the third or fourth rep, something would slip. Pace softened just enough to survive. Recovery jogs stretched or shrank depending on how uncomfortable I felt. I told myself that suffering was the point, that if my lungs burned, the workout was successful. The treadmill dismantled that illusion in minutes. Once the workout was programmed, there was nowhere to hide. The belt didn't respond to motivation or fatigue, it responded to numbers. Each interval demanded the same speed, the same commitment, no matter how my legs felt. What surprised me most wasn't how hard it was, but how clean it felt. There was no mental bargaining, no constant checking and adjusting. My only job was to show up and execute. In that environment, intensity stopped being something I chased and became something that was imposed. My heart rate climbed because it had to, not because I forced it. And for the first time, VO₂max work felt less like chaos and more like a controlled experiment. One where every repetition actually counted toward adaptation, not just exhaustion. Once I experienced that level of control with speed, it was only natural to question another belief I had carried for years, that treadmill hills were somehow fake. I used to think real strength only came from real terrain, real climbs, real descents, mud, uneven footing, gravity, pulling you back down. Anything else felt like a shortcut. But when I finally approached incline training with the same curiosity instead of skepticism, that idea unraveled quickly. Running uphill on the treadmill wasn't about pretending I was outside, it was about isolating stress. The moment the incline rose, different muscles woke up, glutes, hamstrings, calves, and my heart rate climbed faster at the same pace. What surprised me most was how controlled the strain felt. No reckless pounding, no downhill damage afterward, just sustained demand. Outside, the hills are accidental. You take what the route gives you. On the treadmill, the incline became intentional. I could choose the gradient, the duration, the recovery, and repeat it exactly. That repeatability changed everything. I wasn't guessing whether a hill was enough. I was prescribing it. Over time, those sessions didn't just make me stronger. They made me more confident. I wasn't surviving hills anymore. I was understanding them. And that understanding reshaped how I thought about strength, safety, and longevity in training. As those pieces came together, precision, honesty, control, something deeper began to shift, something I hadn't expected at all. For most of my running life, I thought progress was built in standout moments, big long runs, brutal workouts, sessions that left me exhausted enough to feel proud. What I underestimated was how fragile those moments were. A storm, a late night, a dark winter morning, and suddenly the plan unraveled. Missed sessions quietly stacked up, and I explained them away as part of life. The treadmill changed that dynamic completely. It didn't make training more exciting. It made it reliable. The conditions never argued back. There was no weather to negotiate with, no safety concerns, no shrinking daylight. When a workout was scheduled, it happened, exactly as planned. Over time, that reliability became its greatest strength. I began to see consistency not as discipline, but as an environmental problem. When friction is high, even the most motivated runners break wave. The treadmill removed that friction. It protected the structure of the plan when everything else tried to erode it. And in the long arc of training, weeks blending into months, that uninterrupted rhythm mattered more than any single heroic session ever could. That realization reshaped how I measured progress, not by how hard one run felt, but by how few runs I actually missed. The more I respected what the treadmill offered, the clearer it became why so many runners never get past their hatred of it. Most people don't dislike the treadmill because it's ineffective. They dislike it because it's uncomfortable in a different way. It removes distraction. It magnifies awareness. Staring at the console turns every second into a negotiation with your mind. Running at zero incline subtly alters mechanics and makes the effort feel wrong. Treating it like a mindless substitute for outdoor miles strips it of its purpose. I made all of those mistakes. Once I stopped using the treadmill to get through a run and started using it to execute a specific task, the experience changed. Covering the display forced me to reconnect with effort. Adding a slight incline restored rhythm. Structuring the session gave it meaning. The treadmill doesn't reward autopilot. It demands presence. And that demand is exactly why so many people reject it. It asks you to run with intention, not distraction. And not everyone is ready for that level of honesty. Once I accepted that honesty, my relationship with running itself began to reorganize. I stopped seeing the treadmill as a poor imitation of the outdoors and started seeing it for what it really was, a laboratory. Outside, running is expressive. You respond, adapt, and improvise. It teaches awareness and resilience. But the treadmill serves a different purpose. It strips running down to variables you can actually study: pace, incline, duration, and asks one simple question: what happens if you hold this constant long enough? That shift mattered. It freed me from trying to make every run feel meaningful. Some runs weren't about emotion or experience at all. They were about collecting clean signals, repeating stress accurately, letting the body respond without interference. I no longer asked whether the treadmill felt natural. I asked whether it delivered clarity. And once I framed it that way, it earned its place beside my outdoor runs. Not as a replacement, but as a counterpart, one grounded in precision, not romance. With that balance finally in place, the question stopped being whether I enjoyed the treadmill and became something far more important. I'm not trying to convince anyone to love it. I still don't, but I trust it now. And trust in training carries more weight than excitement ever will. The treadmill showed me how often I had been mistaking effort for effectiveness, and how easily comfort can disguise stagnation. If you've been doing everything right, showing up, working hard, staying disciplined, and still feel stuck, maybe the answer isn't more intensity or more motivation. Maybe it's clarity. Maybe it's a tool that refuses to flatter you and instead shows you exactly where you stand. Sometimes progress doesn't come from adding something new. It comes from re-examining the thing you've been avoiding all along. And if the treadmill feels confronting, boring, or brutally honest, that might not be a reason to run from it. It might be the very reason to step on and finally listen to what your body has been trying to tell you. When I look back on this journey, the treadmill was never really the story. It was just the mirror. It showed me how often I chose comfort over clarity, feeling over function, familiarity over effectiveness. The deeper lesson goes far beyond running. Real growth rarely comes from what feels good in the moment. It comes from placing yourself in environments that give you honest feedback, even when that feedback is uncomfortable. In training, in work, in life, progress depends on clear signals and consistency, not constant stimulation. When you remove noise and excuses, improvement becomes inevitable. So here's my question for you. What is one tool, habit, or situation in your life that you've been avoiding because it feels uncomfortable, but might actually help you grow? Share your thoughts in the comments below so we can all learn from each other. And if this way of thinking resonates with you, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support is what allows me to keep creating deeper, more meaningful content like this.